jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back
What's good, everyone? WCS on deck with another one. Salute to the supporters. Big shout out to those who's dropping in. You already know. One love. Appreciate your support. Hit the like button. Just get it over with. Just hit the like button, man. You know what I'm saying? Just hit the like button. Get it over with so you don't forget before you get up out of here. But today, we're going to switch up the flavor, man, because we're going to try to dig into something that's really, really intriguing. We're going to talk about Anderson Silva and Jake Paul's situation. Now, why this is so important is that, most of the time, especially on social media, we deal with pretty much the real side of boxing. Like, we deal with rankings, we deal with promotions, teams, we deal with names that we're familiar with that has either amateur or no amateur career. We deal with boxers who's up here contending, and we know they are legitimate, solid fighters. You know what I'm saying? No exhibition, none of that. Don't matter where they came from, but most of the time they have enough experience to step in the square. I was a little bit taken back because I was waiting on the numbers of Jake Paul, Anderson Silva. Okay, if you don't know, let me refresh your memory. Let me go to the chat right quick, man. Shout out to SB90 on deck. What's good? King Mitch on deck. Salute to you. So let me refresh your memory. October 29th this year, Anderson Silva and Jake Paul touched gloves. Now, this was an 8-round sanctioned fight, people. This shit was sanctioned. Don't try to look at it as anything else. This wasn't an exhibition fight. This was a sanctioned boxing match. Now, I want y'all to really pay attention because in light of everything that's going on and all the back full, rah-rah, ree-ree, hoo-hoo, it's some fights that's going on that people don't give attention. You would think they'd give attention to a fight like Anderson Silva, Jake Paul, for the simple fact that a lot of people don't take this shit serious. But I'm trying to tell people, I'm trying to let them understand, make them understand that boxing has an inlet that allows anybody to eat from the sport. It has minimal, and when I say minimal, it has minimal requirements, as always. So you allow somebody with money in their background, you allow somebody like Anderson Silva, who's had several boxing matches, nothing that we're going to sit up here and brag about. But October 29th, man, was supposed to be one of Jake Paul's toughest fights. Now, people can say what they want, right? They can say they don't respect Jake Paul as a fighter, this, that, and the other. I understand where you're coming from. The dude used to be a Vines creator, and it's just hard to get him and his brother Logan out of my head when they was online being goofy. You know what I'm saying? But they made a lot of money doing that shit, thanks to their parents getting them involved. already laying the foundation for them, and then they finding out, hey, during the pandemic, when everybody was locked down, they say, man, let's find a way to raise up Jake Paul. Because when Eddie Hearns put on that card the first time, it was all about Logan Paul. You know what I'm saying? It was Logan Paul and KSI. And god damn, people was tuned into that shit. I mean, people was really interested in seeing these two fight. Two YouTubers, bro. Two YouTubers. So, that's history. Let me tell you when that shit happened. That was January 2020, y'all. That was post-pandemic, man. That was post-pandemic. That's when damn near boxing shut down on life support. We seen boxing for the first time create a environment that was called the bubble. And it was without an audience, period. You seen fighters fighting in the bubble. That was his first fight. That was Jake Paul's first fight. First sanctioned boxing match. January 2020, post-pandemic. I mean, my fault. Pre-pandemic, right? So, during the pandemic, they started to talk, hey, man, you know, Jake Paul, I think you might be better than your brother Logan Paul. We're going to start trying to build you up. We need to really come up with something, you know, the spruce this up a little bit, man. We got Triller trying to come into the game for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Play some hopscotch. You know what I'm saying? Play some hopscotch. And then move the fuck on. I think you'll be a good fit for Triller. I think you'll be a good fit, man. Oh, we got the perfect opponent. Y'all about the same height. Well, he's a little bit shorter, but he can jump higher than you, Jake Paul. I guarantee you that. Well, we're going to get you Nate Robinson. We're going to get you Nate Robinson. What? I'm going to get to fight a slam dunk champion? Yeah, man. That shit is epic, huh? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. He goes in there and knocks out Nate Robinson in the second round, people. And then he moves on and come down here to the A. Dude, he comes down here to the A. I'm hyped. I'm like, yeah. Put in my credential for the Triller. Boom, approved. I get to see my first Triller card. So I'm like, God damn, Nate, you short than a motherfucker, dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing that on TV, right? So I'm saying, God damn, Jake Paul, he ain't that much bigger. You feel me? So when they pulled Ben Askren into the damn equation, right? I said, damn, this dude was a damn world champion, a legitimate certified official wrestler, real talk, certified official wrestler, and he came over to the UFC undefeated, fought Robbie Lawler, stopped him, and then he took his first loss for Jorge Masvidal. This dude was legitimate world champion in mixed martial arts. But, you know, that was long past. You know, he had hip problems and everything, had a hip surgery and all that shit. He's coming on here to box. He goes in there and do the infamous Creed knockout. He gets dropped in the first round. And I was saying to myself, I know Ben Askren can beat Jake Paul. I know he can. Ain't nobody knocked out Jake. Look, ain't nobody, not Jake Paul, ain't nobody knocked out Ben Askren in MMA. Listen to me. Nobody has knocked out Ben Askren in MMA with their hands. Jorge Masvidal knocked him out with a flying knee. Nobody had knocked him out with their hands. So when I seen Jake Paul did, I said, man, get out of here. I'm going to call it bullshit on that. I'm calling bullshit. So Tyron Woodley name, like I told y'all, you know, the little back and forth. They talking shit to one another at Mercedes-Benz. They putting it all on camera. Who does that? You barely even, I mean, come on, who does that? So I told people, I said, man, he's going to be the next one to step in the damn ring with him. You know what I'm saying? He's giving that particular camp a payday. Sure enough, Tyron Woodley step in there, goes 8 rounds. Then they pull a okey doke, a hocus pocus on us. They said, well, guess what? Tommy Fury's gonna be next. I said, well, yeah. Tommy Fury, this early in his career, they trying to build this man up. They gonna bring Tommy Fury to fight Jake Paul. Even Tommy Fury can beat Jake Paul. They used his name, and then all of a sudden, he pulls out. He couldn't get in, and all this other shit. They knew that all along that he wasn't gonna fight Tommy Fury, but they had Tyrone Woodley that was gonna come in. They knew they wasn't gonna build it up with Tyrone Woodley just saying, "Hey, we're gonna do a rematch." People would be like, "For what? We don't want to see that shit. You just went the distance and you lost. We don't want to see that fight again." But they used Tommy Fury to subliminally promote the shit, and then pulls him out and say at the last minute, Tyrone Woodley, who had been training, he had been training for the finish. You know what I'm saying? They got with Michael B. Jordan. They trained that finish. Hey, come over here, man. Hey, I'm Sylvester Stallone. You say you want to work on that finish that you seen in Creed, huh? You like it? Yeah, it's gonna be good. So he started working on his finish for the knockout. He goes in there and gets knocked out by Jake Paul. The exact same way that Ben Askren was knocked out. And I told people the fight was fixed. Man, they gave me hell and back. They said, you just hating. I said, come on, bro. You have two different fighters, both mixed martial arts champions, that don't have a history of being knocked out. And people are going to say, well, it's the bigger gloves. Stop it. They was fighting with 4-ounce gloves, man. We talking about them being knocked out with a kick, them being knocked out with hands, elbows. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't happen when they was competing. The only one to get knocked out in Strike Force was Tyrone Woodley by Nate Marquardt. He suffered injuries and all this other shit. Ben Askren getting knocked out by Jorge Masvidal when he came over to the UFC. I don't remember Tyrone Woodley getting knocked out when he was in the UFC. So when he came over here and got and fought a rematch with Ben Askren, and his ass got knocked out the same exact way than his friend Ben Askren. They was together practicing that shit, man. In a private session behind closed doors. They was practicing that shit. And you know what? You haven't even heard from Tyrone Woodley since them paychecks. The shit. That's his good friend. That's his good friend. Real talk. So he leaves Tyrone Woodley in December 2021. And he damn near takes a year off and come back with another opponent that he can get a win over. Now, Ben Askren fight was fixed. The rematch was Tyrone Woodley was fixed. And the last fight he had with Anderson Silva was fixed. I'm calling all three of them. The reason being is that he couldn't use the same finisher that Ben Askren and Tyrone Woodley. Hold on for a second, y'all. Let me see who in the building. Smooth operator, what's good? King Mitch, what's good? 200 to 300K, that's a huge gap. Not bad numbers, but nobody can claim Jake is the face of boxing with these numbers. I had to agree with you on that. I don't think Silva took a dive. When he tried to press the gas, he got his ass dropped. I already knew the fight was just a money grab. I just still watch these type of fights, enjoy the critiquing. Lost all the boxing on deck. What's good with it? Q, Mr. Pass on deck, salute to you. Tony Boswell on deck. What's good, Tony? Much respect at World Combat in the chat. Just got off work. Salute to you there, Tony, for pulling up, bro. All y'all. I wouldn't say Silva took a dive, but he wasn't going to win. Okay, so this is why I say Silva took a dive. He absolutely took a dive. He's been in a boxing match before. He's been in a boxing match before, people. If you follow him throughout his career, yes, he's been knocked out in his career by 4-ounce gloves and an elite mixed martial artist. And in his boxing match back in 98, yes, he was knocked out, up top by someone who actually boxed. And then Julio Cesar de Jesus, TKO. All right, that was his second boxing match, right? But hear me out on this shit. He had another boxing match against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We already know how that went. Shit. He won via split decision. And then he went in there against Mr. Man himself, one of the pioneers, trendsetters of mixed martial arts, Tito Ortiz. Knocked him out in round 1. And then he had Bruno Azeredo. He went to a decision, exhibition boxing. So he had his experience in the ring. The reason why I say that the Anderson Silva fight was fixed because Jake Paul is not on that level at that stage in the fight to drop somebody like Anderson Silva. He's not. He barely even hit Anderson Silva. Anderson's in great shape, man. Look at that dude. He's in great shape, man. His son's fight, he's in great shape, tremendous shape. He barely was hit with a shot, and he just, sat down. Like, the man's in incredible shape, man. He takes the sport of, the art, not the sport, the art of combat serious. He does. He take that shit serious. I just look at the whole point of him being knocked down in that late round just to separate Jake Paul from it being a close fight. Look at the fight. He landed some damn good shots on Jake Paul. Very, very good shots. And for him to just get knocked down the way he did and then finish the fight, come on, bro. Come on, he just had to do his little ta-da. That's all it was, ta-da. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Jamal Neesy on that. What's good? So this is the way I look at it. It's been reported, right? And I'm not reading too deeply into this, but it's been reported that the Anderson Silva Jake Paul fight did 200, 300. I never heard such. Which one is it? 200, 210, 15, 17, 18. How can you come up with 200,000 and 300,000? That's huge, bro. But look, I believe they did some numbers. I don't have a clue what numbers they did because when it comes down to the money that's behind them and everything that they're trying to push with this fighter Jake Paul, they're gonna fluff the numbers up anyway. I just thought it was very important to talk about this tonight because it's kind of concerning when you have real boxing matches not even coming close to these numbers, not even close. We have channels going to war. We have channels going to war over fighters who don't have numbers like this. You know what I'm saying? We have channels going to war talking about fighters with one fight that got close to damn 300. You know what I'm saying? War, y'all. But Jake Paul and Anderson Silva come here and they report 200, 300,000. Now let me show you something, and this is what I try to explain to people about boxing. Don't get too disturbed Don't become too ill-tempered about boxing, man. Boxing is one of those sports, bro, that everybody and their mama can eat. Every fighter starts off with the way Jake Paul is right now. Y'all hold for a second. The way Jake Paul is right now. Let's do a further examination. Shout out to New Media Today, USA Boxing. Coach Malachi on deck, man. Salute that, coach. Fire, live as always today. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Pop on deck. You know what I'm saying? So, people are not going to believe, when you talk about fixed fights, people are not going to believe what you say. But what's the odds of Ben Askren, who I've watched growing up? You know what I'm saying? I watched this dude that looks goofy as shit in flannel, but he's a bad mofo for real. I watched Tyron Woodley grow up through the sport, come over here from Strike Force to UFC, and become one of the best welterweight world champions ever. You know what I'm saying? When Kamaru Usman stopped his streak, guess what? It was a decision. When Kamaru Usman finally lost his streak, his championship reign, guess what? It was via knockout. You know what I'm saying? It was via knockout. Tyron Woodley was never knocked out when he lost his reign. So I'll take that in consideration. Ben Askren never had a reign over the UFC. He was working towards that, but Jorge Masvidal shut him down. Hold on for a second. So, Coach said WWF at its finest. It is. So when I was telling you about Tyron Woodley's reign in welterweight, I take all that in consideration. I said, this dude is tough. He just don't get knocked out. Only reason he was knocked out by Nate Marquardt early in his career because he really wasn't attached to a gym. You know what I'm saying? He really wasn't attached to a gym like that. So he was kind of self-training and training with different people. He wasn't in a gym. Even when he lost his reign in the welterweight division, like I said before, it was via decision. He got out-wrestled by Kamaru Usman. When Kamaru Usman lost his reign was cut short. It was via head kick. You know what I'm saying? So I take all this shit in consideration. How goofy Ben Askren looked, but nobody was knocking him out. The man was 18-0 when he came into the damn UFC. Moving on. So they say this fight possibly did 200,000-300,000. So let's go to a screenshot. Let's get into the wickets. This is a fight. Look, we clown fighters like this that have this amount of experience. You know, 6-0 fighting on pay-per-view. Now check this out. 6-0 fighting on pay-per-view. Now, I remember when people was telling me David Morrell should fight David Benavidez. I said, hell no, man. He don't have enough experience. Look, I wasn't basing that just off the numbers that he had. I was basing it just off how he looked in the ring. You know what I'm saying? You want to go in there against the Mexican Monster. I'm talking about your performance. I'm not really talking about just because you have that many fights. I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at your performance together. You need some more work. But with Jake Paul is a licensed professional boxer. You know what? It ain't shit you can do about it. This man is 6-0, and he just fought on pay-per-view again. again. Now, you probably saying, damn, he got 4 knockouts. You know, this guy is making money because they already had money. Not only did they have money, people, you're talking about Showtime, who we've been going through shit with the Crawford and Spence situation, and people don't have money and all this. And I'm saying to myself, but I wonder how deep Jake Paul them, you know, I know they got their own promotion, they got money behind them, but I just want to know what is the setup with them? What is the arrangement with Jake Paul and Logan Paul? What do they have going on? I know they have some sponsorships. And what does it take? What is the mindset of going to the table to get yourself into a position like this? That's all I'm saying. Because listen. When he knocked out freaking Ben Askren, right? Showtime picked him up. The Showtime that they say is crumbling and heading to the ashes, fire and brimstone, right? They pick him up. He goes up there and has 2 fights with Tyron Woodley. Then he goes in there with Anderson Silva, bro. Pay-per-view. Coach, I'm asking myself, what is the arrangement? How is this possible, dog? This dude, look at this. Look at this amazing. Look, I have to tell you, one of the best records I ever seen in boxing. I was really taking this shit for granted. But when I tell you all that everybody can eat off boxing, it's all up to how you have the plan, who you are connected to, and what is your mode of transportation to get where you're trying to get in the sport. You're going to have to run off something different than just gas. You got to have a different type of fuel, y'all. Look at this record. Let that marinate in your head right quick. This is a guy who I believe is on his 3rd pay-per-view, just completed. Take a look at that record right there now. That right there is gorgeous. Gorgeous, man. Look at that record, y'all. I just want y'all to goddamn look at that. Like, you just walked in, your girl got some new lingerie on. You know what I'm saying? She's smelling good, looking good. I want you to look at that. Look at that resume right there. Look at that resume right there. You can't tell me that shit ain't sexy. We up here getting people going to war over boxers who actually stepping in the ring and competing, but they ain't talking about this. You trying to say what fighter ain't doing that? He ducking this, he's doing that. Jake Paul has one of the most sexiest records in boxing. Ooh. Look at that beauty. Look at it. Debut. 0-1-0. 0-1-0. 3-1-0. Ooh, talking about sexy. Like when I see resumes like this, if I ever was to just say, hey, I'm going to try to sign my first fighter. I said, hey, you look nervous. Calm your ass down. But there's so much. I said, calm your ass down. This is boxing, son. You don't have nothing to worry about. Let me show you something. I'm going to bring up this screenshot right here. I said, look at that record right there. He guess how many pay-per-views he's been on already. Son, that's the route we taking. It's possible. We can take this route right here. It's possible. For real? You can get me 4 debuts? Yeah, I can get you 4 debuts, man. Because from 0 to your debut all the way up to 10 fights, you can pretty much kind of finagle and maneuver your way. You know what I'm saying? You can get away with some shit. But look at that right there. You talking about out of the 4 debuts, you actually have 2 actual fighters, Ben Askren and Tyron Woodley. Nate Robinson and Ali Gibb? No. Ali Gibb was a YouTuber, all right, content creator. And Nate Robinson, we already know he's a professional NBA basketball player, slam dunk champion. So out of those debuts, you have two world-class fighters in Ben Askren and Tyrone Woodley when they was in their prime. Unbelievable. So he gets 2 for 1 out of Tyrone Woodley. You know what I'm saying? Just like Floyd did with Marcus Maidana. You know, got 2 for 1 special. You know what I'm saying? Made it look easier in the rematch because they practiced the finish. No matter what somebody say, they practice the finish, man. And then Anderson Silva, he has a whopping 3-1. But, you know, when it comes down to his MMA record, though, you know what I'm saying? I respect the legend. He's 34-11. Can you imagine a boxer having a record of 34-11 and get the love of Anderson Silva? Anderson the Spider Silva? Anderson the Spider Silva from Brazil? Let's get back to the task at hand now. Let me see what y'all saying over here in the chat. What y'all have to say about that beauty? That's a sexy record, ain't it? Look at that. Debut. 0-1. Because he already beat him the first time in the decision. He's 0-1 coming in there. Tyrone Woodley has the same record as Logan Paul. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy, right? That's crazy, right? Apply the pressure, bro. Salute WCS in the chat. You think Plant versus Benavidez does those types of numbers, considering most people have a fire stick? I will get to that later. I think they're going to be do pretty decent numbers, man. What I mean by decent 150, 200, 200 plus or whatever, because it's history between these two. They don't like each other, point blank, period. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the when it comes to actually genuine disdain, dislike, beef, these two have it. They don't like each other. It ain't going to be no shaking of the hands at the end of this, I don't think. Jameson, what's good? Michael Johnson Boxing Talk, what's good? Professional record against no professional boxers. Correcto. Gooch on deck. Show recent subscriber. Great content. Appreciate you, Gooch. Treehouse say don't care about his record. It stay padded. Well, to be honest with you, I'm not showing you this record for you to care. I'm doing this live strictly because I'm trying to dig a little bit, right? I'm trying to come up with a plan, with everybody in the chat and myself. I'm trying to come up and be a silent partner and trying to figure out how we can get more fighters to take this route and have 3 pay-per-views out of this shit. Dude, check this out. Man. 3 pay-per-views. This shit is unreal, man. And I was looking at this for quite some time. I said, man, let me go ahead and do a live on this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and do a live on it. Because it's very, very intriguing. It is, man. Very, very intriguing. Look, peep this. On the undercard, look at the setup now. These guys are genius, man. These guys are genius. Look at the set. Let me share screen right quick. I'm trying to find out, does he have exactly 2 pay-per-views or 3? I'm thinking it may be 2. But still, with a record like that, how you getting 2 pay-per-views already. I think the one in his hometown was free. No, it was pay-per-view. I was right. 3 pay-per-views. Okay, let me share screen right quick. Let me show you something. This is insane, man. You can't take shit like this for serious. I mean, you can't take shit like this too serious, because it's actually going on in a sport that you love so much, man. It's certain areas of boxing that you can love and adore, and it's cool. You know what I'm saying? You get what you put into it. Real talk. Like, you get pure boxing. You get some of the best fighters. Real talk. Like, that's what we're talking about. But look at this right here. Check this out. This is his hometown in Ohio. Look at the undercard. Tommy Fury was on the undercard. Tommy Fury, 6-0. 6-0. He is in the pedigree of the Furies. The lineage. Tommy Fury. He's on the undercard fighting some guy that's 0-1. Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley. Charles Bad News Conwell. Great guy. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Charles Conwell. Great guy. He can box. He fought somebody credible. 18-0. You feel me? Daniel Dubois. Look at this shit, bro. Look at this shit. They have some solid names in boxing right now. Daniel Dubois is the WBA regular heavyweight champion right now. He fought a guy 19-3. Joe Cusimano. Ivan Baranchyk. Montalin Love. That was actually a pretty good fight. You know what I'm saying? He stopped him. And then Amanda Serrano, she had her fight. Unanimous decision. But look at how they're able My fault, man. Something happened, whatever, however. But I'm back. What they do? What's going on, expert? But what I was trying to tell you is, let me get back to sharing screen right quick. I don't know why that shit dropped out like that. Shit don't make no sense. But peep this out though. So looking at this, right? Half of this guy's career has pretty much been on pay-per-view. He has 3 fights on pay-per-view. He's only 6-0, 4 knockouts. Incredible. And he called himself the problem child. The dangerous part about what I'm telling you is that he's 25 years old. That's the dangerous part about it. The reason why I say dangerous is you're going to continue to see this guy fluff his record on Showtime or whatever he's at, pay-per-view, and people are going to tune in. Now, just process this now. They're talking about this guy did 200 to 300,000. We can't even get boxers that have been world champions who are legitimate certified official boxers with amateur pedigrees to do these type of numbers right now. I'm not talking about the Canelo Alvarez's. I'm talking about boxers in his position with his experience in the boxing ring. 6-0, y'all. 4 knockouts. What the fuck? I'm trying to get y'all input. I'm trying to see how can we build up a blueprint, green print, red print, whatever, to try to come up with a template so that this type of fight card, you know what I'm saying, which could be better because we have boxers, actual boxers over here, right? We can build something that can continue to grow the pay-per-view interest. How is this guy able to do this at 6-0? You know, and look, you can't dress this up any beautiful than what it already is. He's 6-0, 4 knockouts, and he don't even have but one boxer on his record. Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva has had boxing before. He had a boxing match in 98 and he was stopped. He was a boxer, bro. He stepped in the ring, real talk. Just because he didn't pursue it in a full-time career, he was a boxer. How do we create a template? How do we create some type of format that can transfer over to the sport that we support so heavy? And we support so heavy, and build up fighters and put them close to pay-per-view highlight. You know what I'm saying? Like Jake Paul. This man's had 3 pay-per-views. Amazing. With a record like that with 4 debuts, y'all. 4 freaking debuts, y'all. If you want to see this beautiful lady once again, look at this record. She's so beautiful. Look at that. 4 debuts. A 0-1 fighter who he fought before, and then fought a 3-1 fighter, which is a legend in mixed martial arts. I want to give Anderson Silva a pass because he's a mixed martial artist, but I can't because he's very old when it comes to a 25-year-old fighter like that fighting somebody in boxing the age of Anderson Silva. They're not going to give him a exemption. No. They're going to say, man, what the fuck you did in that fighter? Old as shit, dog. He got too much tread. No. Got too many miles on him. But in this setting right here with Jake Paul, they overlook all of that shit. Not one person is up here really scrutinizing how old Anderson Silva was, y'all. It's wild, man. This is wild, bro. Because I'm asking myself, I say, how in the hell is that possible? How can this guy come off YouTube? How can this guy come off YouTube and develop a plan, get his team together, develop a plan, at 23 years old. How can he come up with a plan like this? What did he bring to the table for Showtime to invest their money in him when you have fights that we're not able to see, and we got people out here playing the blame game, crying and shit. You know what I'm saying? Erratic behavior, going insane off two fighters we've been talking about for years. But Jake Paul, you know what he's been doing since 2020? Maybe not with Gibb, but he's been building up to this point. He came in 3-0. Jake Paul 3-0. Forget this fight right here in 2020. This man fought Nate Robinson on Triller, Ben Askren on Triller. And then somehow or another, Showtime got involved and they went up there and talked. And this man at 3-0 was able to sign a deal with Showtime and become a pay-per-view attraction. That is unbelievable. Real talk, people. That's just unfucking believable. Let's go over here to where they're talking about the numbers. All right. Let me take him down. So this is SB Nation. They said Jake Paul, Anderson Silva, and this is not just one source. This is one of the sources. 200 to 300,000 pay-per-view buys. I don't know why the gap is that huge, but still, it's just the whole point that these guys were the pay-per-view. These guys was a pay-per-view, y'all. Did I tell y'all Anderson Silva was 47 years old? Let that marinate in your spirit. Did I tell you Anderson Silva was 47 years old? Just think about that. He's 22 years older than Jake Paul, and they're on pay-per-view, y'all. Pay-per-view. I'm not making this shit up. Pay-per-view. He's 25 years old. Anderson Silva is 47. They are the main event. This article reads, on his brother's Logan Impulsive podcast, Jake said the fight likely did around 200,000 and 300,000. Now, that's the reason why I brought this up after reading it several times, because they're breaking it on their podcast and people are reporting on it. This is another separation that I'm talking about with what they're able to get away with, whatever the arrangement. You can't do this shit in boxing. What do we talk about on here? How many back and forth verbal sparring exchanges that we have on YouTube about real shit that's being reported? You already know what I'm talking about. But look, they broke that shit on their podcast, which he said kind of upsetting. He also said he believes the controversy around the Anderson Silva interview, where Silva said he'd been knocked out in training camp, hurt the fight. Look, that's crazy, right? He did. That's true. Anderson Silva said he was knocked out training for this fight twice. Who does that? He said the pre-buys. Now, if a boxer would have said that shit, all anarchy would have been upon us. You were knocked out twice. Who passed him for medicals? It goes on to say the pre-buys was going crazy. Up, Paul said. And on Wednesday, when the news came out about Anderson saying he got knocked out or whatever, and the fight was in jeopardy, and all this press came out, the pre-buys tanked all the way down. Now, why would that happen? Why would Anderson Silva come out and say he was knocked out twice? It goes on to say, he added, the general public sees that and, oh, it's not happening. Tommy Fury pulled out. Hasim Rahman pulled out. Jake fucking Paul can't get an event together. This is done. It killed ticket sales. We were still selling tickets that day. Everything went to zero. I don't believe that, because life doesn't think like that. That's like everybody thinking on the same sheet of music, and they're willing to basically see one person do it, they copy it, the next one copying it, everybody's emulating one another. It doesn't work that. It didn't go to zero. It's fucking impossible. Paul also said he believes that the lack of post-fight buzz probably has something to do with the time of the year the fight took place, and that he planned to fight in the summer from now on. Halloween, World Series, Sunday football. Now, once again, look what he just mentioned. He's talking about the time, the calendar of when they had this fight. He mentioned Halloween, World Series, Sunday football. Does boxing think about that? Because I know at first when they was talking about the damn Bud and Spence fight, they was talking about it was going to be in October, November. A lot of us didn't believe it because of the simple fact of what they talking about. Halloween, World Series, Sunday football. Why would they have a fight like that? At that time, why? It's not going to do good numbers. And then you see the Wilder fight and Hellenius is at the Barclays, and they talking about they did like 75K, but they're speaking on it right now. They speaking on how many other competitors in collateral sports are competing with fans tuning in to watch this boxing shit. It goes on to say this is the worst time of the year to fight. I'm right here, just in case y'all trying to follow around. I'm right here. He said all my fights from now on will be in the summer with no sports. There's like the perfect gap in July and early August where there's no sports. And by the way, all my other fights was during COVID. No one had anything to do and anything to watch. The NFL was canceled, the NBA, nothing was on. He say the last part is like incorrect. Paul's only fight that would have been significantly impacted by COVID came in November 2020 when he fought Nate Robinson on the Tyson vs. Jones exhibition Triller event, where Jake was not the headliner. His April 2021 fight with Ben Askren and his August and December 20 fight against Tyron Woodley were all happening at times where the sport was back on. It should also be noted that 200 to 300,000 buys for Paul Silva would still be quite good in current boxing market. It will, wouldn't it? They're not telling a lie. 200, 300,000, yeah, you're doing great. Where Andy Ruiz and versus Luis Ortiz on September reportedly did 65,000 buys, y'all. And Wilder versus Hellenius on October 15th reportedly did 75,000 buys, y'all. As major boxing pay-per-views are hitting some incredible lows. This is exactly why I did this freaking live, because the real boxing pay-per-views are tanking bad. But Jake Paul is attached to Showtime. Showtime's, as of late, they've been in the news for the wrong reasons. Pretty much, oh man, they're not doing good. You know what I'm saying? They on their way out. The head guy quit. You know what I'm saying? No money. Steven Espinosa come over here talking this, that, and the other. Trying to say the fight date ain't dead and it's deader than a motherfucking zombie. You feel me? Like the hocus pocus, man. These guys can go over here and do these type of numbers. 22 years apart in age. But yet we can't get real boxing to do solid numbers. It's fucking incredible, y'all. It's incredible. Shout out to Shaw News, the Sauce Experience, a.k.a. Showtime's Shaw. I saw you on deck today, man, in the trenches, bro. Shout out to you and Team Tucker, bro. Salute WCS in the chat. I know I'm late. His number are dropping, but he still did more than Wilder pay-per-view and a lot other boxers that 200, 300K and consider superstar. For real. That's true words, bro. And that's what makes this live so interesting. They're reporting, you know what I'm saying? Who are reporting that? It just can't come from his podcast. Who are reporting these numbers? Because if it was boxing, Showtime wouldn't put no numbers out like this. Let me see. Hold up for a second. They just fought October 29th. When it comes to real boxing, do we ever get numbers like this right away? Like this is not too long ago. This is like last week, bro. And the numbers are coming out from a podcast or whatever. Ain't nobody damn debunking the shit. Ain't nobody disputing it. Ain't nobody filing paperwork for a grievance. Ain't nobody trying to get in contact with the Showtime HR. Ain't nobody trying to do shit because they don't care about shit like that. But I do. I care about shit like this. Because you're going to get your ass on here and argue and do shit. You got to take a little time apart and do your little research and go in the little ponds and shit. Take a little breather and read some other shit. Because this is crazy, bro. At 3-0, he ain't did shit. At 4, his 4 professional fight, he's on pay-per-view. He signed on Showtime. Heading into his 6th professional fight, he's fighting a guy that's 22 years old, older than him, on pay-per-view. And they talking about this fight did 200, 300. The shit don't even look right. It don't sound right. But I don't see people disputing it. I know who I got to call. I got to call Rick Glaser. I got to call good old Rick Glaser. Rick, I got a question. These numbers coming over there from Anderson Silva, Jake Paul, can you give me the true scoop on it? Can I get the true scoop on it, Rick? Andrew said, I want to see the streaming numbers. Somebody has to have the data on that. Pay-per-view numbers are down across the board, but I want to see the views. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm doing the live on this. Man, this can't be happening, man. Showtime can't be a part of this, but yet we can't get Crawford Spence. We can't get the shit on real networks and all this other bullshit that's going on. You trying to tell me they doing 200, 300K? What they did different? You can't put it off on the undercard now. Stop the motherfucking madness. Why isn't there true, legitimate boxing matches that can reciprocate these numbers today? How are they able to do that? Look, they're not going through no janky ass streaming service or no network we ain't never heard before. This is motherfucking Showtime, y'all. This is Showtime. Are they getting paid? Like, where are you getting the money from? Like, come on, man. I know Jake Paul ain't going through fight camp spending all his own money. Going in there to fight, nope, not making money. He's just doing this shit to hopefully get a Canelo Alvarez fight in the future. No, man, he got to be getting paid, dog. He got to be getting paid. He has to be getting paid, bro. This shit is mesmerizing. I'm looking at fights like the Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder fight, and they're not even breaking 100K. These guys would, look, I'm talking about these guys, Anderson Silva in boxing, not his mixed martial arts. These guys, Jake Paul and Anderson Silva, would never be on the level of what we just witnessed, of these guys getting in the ring. And they're saying they did 200 to 300K? Wow. I mean, I'm telling you, it's mind-blowing, bro. Shout out to Big Blunts and boxing in the building. What's good there, Blunts? Pay-per-view numbers are a common point of conflict on YouTube. But in all my time here, I've never seen anybody say they didn't watch the fight. They can say all they want. Like, people can say they didn't watch shit just because it's not the cool thing to do, Andrew. On here, people have to try their best continuously to fit in. It's only so many channels that really stand on their own independently and think for themselves. Everybody else seems like they're trying to be in a group and they think alike, and they just not having difference of opinion. Yeah. You don't have to agree with me all the time. It's cool. Because to me, that's natural. As humans, we don't agree with each other all the time. That's natural. That's humanistic behavior. That's natural. If you agree with me all the time, I have to check your skull and see if they got that neural link in there. You programmed. I'm being honest, bro. Shout out to D-Ray Promotions on deck. I'm being honest, man. Shout out to the Wild Dog himself, Captain Chaos in the building. He said, shit, Got to go back in the day status. Closed circuit TV. De La Hoya versus Chavez 1 was closed circuit TV. Yep. That is factual. That is factual, man. Real talk. Salute Shaw News, the Sauce Experience, Jahad Tucker, December 10th. Indeed, for sure, man. Back on deck with another one. Going in there for his 10th professional fight. But this is wild, bro. This is wild, man. This is wild. You know, I was reading up on some mixed martial arts, and I read this. You know, I like been reading up on this shit. I say, man, this is the perfect time to really talk about some shit. You know, like this. You know, looking at his resume and everything, it's just amazing, man. It's just amazing that they're saying on their podcast that they did 200 to 300K. But this guy is 6-0, 4 knockouts, and 25 years old. And they're going to try their best to continue to write scripts on him, right? And continue to write scripts, continue to find the right opponent. He's fighting non-fighters to old fighters. There are people complaining, right? There are. It's nothing they can do. Now, just think about this, right? Just think about this. Let me drop some on y'all right quick. Check this out. They're talking about the numbers they're talking about on pay-per-view with Showtime. But yet, David Benavidez and Jose Uzcategui, supposedly, no one was buying that shit, didn't want to see it, and the fight was canceled. But you're telling me Jake Paul and Anderson Silva can go ahead and do 200 to 300K? What? Did you hear what I just said? David Benavidez and Jose Uzcategui. 2 champions. Okay, regardless of what, you know what I'm talking about. They cannot get to the ring because people are looking at Uzcategui like, no. But they're not looking at Jake Paul the same way. They looking at him like, oh, man, he's doing big things, man. Give the man the credit, man. Give him credit. He in there doing big things. Get the bag, shawty. Get the bag. That's what he's doing. Get the bag. They don't put hard work and effort on YouTube being Vine creators back in the day. Man, let them do what they do. Like I said before, I used to call them the Goofball brothers. Until I went up there and asked all these boxers, and goddamn damn near every boxer was up here saying, man, I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad at him. Get it how you live. I say, so y'all don't care. Why should we care? It's nothing different than anything else in boxing. He was right. They were right. Because that's the way I look at it. I see people fluffing their records all the time. There's nothing wrong with it to me. But some boxers are built different. Some boxers are built different. Every boxer can't be the Jahad Tuckers, the Teofimo Lopez's and shit like that. That pretty much don't have losing records on their resume. Everybody can't be on TV that young. You can't have the Shakur Stevenson, Keyshawn's, and Shoes, Xander Zayas's, Nico Ali's, Jared Anderson's. You just can't have every fighter cut from that cloth to get the break. They just not built like that to be on TV like that and fight. So you have the fighters who come up through the ranks. I wouldn't even say the ranks. Let me back up. They come up through the ladder. They come up climbing the ladder, rung for rung, and they fluffing their record. Just to get the numbers up, get the numbers up, get the numbers up. There's plenty of your favorite fighters that did that shit. I'm not mad at them, but when it comes to the debate and they get critiqued, people are going to look at them like, man, they ain't fought nobody at this time all the way up to here. Canelo's one of them. Canelo's one of them, bro. Jaron Ennis, you can say he was one of them. Devin Haney, he spent his time in Mexico. It's plenty of fighters that's out there. So that's why I'm not mad at the format. The format allows these guys to go over there and build up their numbers. Just put them in the point right here. Now look at them. Now look at them, bro. Jaron's about to be a champion sometime in the future. Devin Haney's the undisputed lightweight champion. And then you got, Canelo Alvarez, multi-division world champion. undisputed at 168. I mean, Hall of Famer. No doubt about it. But we're looking at boxers like Ukostagi that they canceled the fight because it wasn't doing shit. But yet, you telling me people was tuned in to Jake Paul and Anderson Silva, who's 47 freaking years old? 47, dog, and you're talking about 300K? 2 to 300K is just unbelievable. This is a real nigga environment. We conduct ourselves like alpha man with natural testosterone, not like these LDBC bitches. Dang, what happened, dog? What happened, man? What happened? I'm saying most people watch the fight by streaming, but have strong opinions on pay-per-view numbers. It's a paradox. I'm saying most people watch the fights by streaming, but have strong opinions on pay-per-view numbers. It's a paradox. Yeah, man, they'll come up here and stream that motherfucking then act like they contribute to the pay-per-view numbers. You know what I'm saying? We've been there, done that on that road. Real talk. You know what I'm talking about too, Andrew. Shit, most of y'all in the chat know what I'm talking about. We've been there. Chaos say, the boxing money is made on the casuals, and Jake Paul got the casuals. Oh, man. You know what? I'm trying. That's why I did that I Am Legend shit. I put that shit in my thumbnail the other day. Because I'm still trying to understand the mentality of the casual boxing fans. Who are they exactly? When I think about casuals on here, I'm thinking about people who know a little bit about boxing, but they tend to get with people who they're comfortable with. They don't know a lot about the sport. They know enough. They get with people that's just pretty much like-minded, and they pretty much like the tone in the conversation. Not historians, not hardcore boxing fans, but just enough to pique their interest. You feel me? Just enough to pique their interest. I'm just trying to find out, how do we separate them motherfuckers? Like, look, we can understand a casual fan better when they crack their lips open and start to talk about boxing. And you say, damn, you don't know shit about the sport. Right? We can identify. But most of the casuals, they're very, very intelligent in not providing themselves with too much exposure. Because if they do that with somebody who's actually a hardcore fanatic, they're going to get smoked out. So they know what their limits are. They stay in the goddamn background. And you really don't know if they're casual or not. They can get down there and type their ass off and comment and reply to people's in the chat and act like they know every fucking thing. Why? Because just what I said. They're around like-minded people. They like the company. They feel good. They stay behind the logo, the icon or whatever. They can look shit up online and make themselves feel important. Like they really know what the fuck they talking about. But if you crack that motherfucking camera on and put them on a panel and talk about some boxing, they just don't have the depth. But you don't know who they are because a lot of them don't show their faces and they don't really speak up because they're casual boxing fans, bro. They can tell you a fight they went to here and there. That's it. They can talk it. They can talk it a little bit. Tell you a fight they went through and what their opinion of it. He ain't got enough casual boxing fans yet. Not with 200, 300K. He has fans of him, not boxing fans. That's a good point, though. That's a good point. But who is his fans? The YouTube community? If so, I can see those numbers being like that. But I look at it like this, Mitch. His background and foundation is not based off the YouTube boxing community because the YTBC doesn't exist. Real talk. It's not a community where you understand people to be talking about boxing. It's more so reality TV. There's certain channels on here that really talk about boxing. Okay, I'm not talking about the overall. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about everybody. But if he had a fan base that grew up just watching YouTube content, you know, little goofy ass vines and shit they used to make, I'm asking myself, is it possible for him when he decided to make the change with all those subscribers he got, followers or whatever, is it possible for him to be able to influence them to change over? If this wasn't something they know him to be, they didn't grow up off this shit when he was down on YouTube. He switched over not too long ago. Is it possible his fan base, like Mitch just said, follow him over here to support him in boxing? Are they that loyal? Are they that fucking loyal? I don't think so. You know why I'm gonna say I don't think so, Mitch? Because we got motherfucking YouTube channels over here, and these subscribers ain't up here supporting boxing like that. They're not supporting boxing. Look, hell, they not even supporting the motherfucking hosts like that. The people who's up here doing all the research and everything and creating content, the subscribers are not even supporting the host like that. I tell you, if the subscribers were supporting the host like Mitch is speaking on the casual boxing fans who crossed over and supporting Jake Paul, Logan Paul, who was there when they was creating content on YouTube, if they was able to somehow get them to cross over, once again, that's an amazing feat. That's an amazing feat. But the way we see it over here in the Serengeti, it doesn't even happen with the channels. And I don't see how, if we basically take the subscribers from all these channels and put them together, it's gonna be crazy numbers, right? But with all those numbers of the people that tune in to these channels on YouTube, are they buying the fight? Are they willing to support the fight or just stream it? Which leads me to question, like, how is it possible for Jake Paul to get his fan base to transfer over? If he was able to do it, it's amazing. It's an amazing feat, bro. If he was able to do some shit like that, his fans were so loyal to him and his brother, and to come over and support him in boxing, amazing. But naturally, as a human being, I don't see them conforming. I don't see them being enthusiastic to do that shit, bro. Just based off what we got here with true boxing fans, they don't even fucking do it. So why the fuck would some YouTube followers and subscribers for these goofy dudes follow him because he's over there boxing now? Amazing fan base, huh? It might be possible, man. It may not. I don't know, bro. It's not even. Look, it's not even a far-fetched idea, though. What you're talking about, it's not far-fetched, because the YouTube community for the content creators and that genre are different than the boxing genre of subscribers who tune in. It's different. The mixed martial artists, the MMA community, is much different than the boxing community of fans versus fans. Much different. Way different. It is a gap in between fan base when it comes to boxing and MMA. But how often do we see a YouTuber crossover, become a pay-per-view attraction? Don't read too much in the attraction part. I'm just dressing it up. Become a pay-per-view attraction on a major network as a YouTuber. Who's doing that? Hardly anybody. Hardly anybody. Serious. And people don't believe me when I say these dudes can write scripts. These dudes are smart, man. Jake Paul and Logan Paul are not dummies. These dudes used to make some incredible Vine shit. They built up their whole entire foundation off that shit, man. They made an incredible amount of money off that. But is it possible for his fan base to support him faithfully and be loyal to him, crossing over from YouTube over to support him in boxing? Is it possible? That's a good question. Mitch, those are casual numbers. Wilder versus Laney, Ortiz versus Ruiz was hardcore numbers. Talk that shit, man. Tim Kazoo said, Mel Charlo is the shittier one. Yeah, I heard that. Out of the Charlos. Excuse me. I see he's starting to talk out his ass like his fellow Ozzy, Clint Bozo. Yeah, I heard that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's just them throwing shade and hating. You know what I'm saying? But we all know that Mel Charlo passed up his brother. You know what I'm saying? Real talk, when it come down to fights, we all know when he not only went in there and rematched Tony Harrison, he went in there and rematched Brian Castano, and he stopped both of those guys in the rematch. You know what I'm saying? Even though his fight with Castano, his first one wasn't a loss, it was a draw. Still, it was for the undisputed titles. And he got that shit done. He's undisputed. So I don't know what the fuck he talking about. No chaos. When you have casual boxing fans, you get major events and major numbers. Jake Paul versus Silva wasn't that. I don't know, man. I don't know. That couldn't have been hardcore fans, bro. I don't know. You saying it wasn't that? I'm thinking it was that. If the numbers are even true, if the numbers even peaked over 100,000, because he's talking about what Anderson Silva said, and then the ticket sales stopped. These guys be paying attention to all that shit. Who was watching? Aliens? What planet was goddamn paying for that shit? And how did they get the payment down here ahead of time? What satellite dish are they on? Dude, that's a hellified Wi-Fi connection up there. Who and where these numbers was coming from? What demographic? 200 to 300,000. That's crazy, bro. Shout out to Timothy on deck, man. WCS salute, OG. How you feeling, brother? I just look at this shit and I'm saying to myself, how can boxers find out the plan if they don't have that background? What must they do as a boxer to get this type of viewership, to get this type of clout, to get this type of recognition and notoriety? How can they build up their brand? What do they have to do? Because this guy's background has nothing to do with combat sports. He was a YouTube content creator. Nothing to do with boxing, but it seems like he's having much more fun than fighters who are in his same position, resume-wise, with that experience. They seem to be struggling to get some type of recognition. Can you imagine if any one of these guys like a Jahai Tucker, Keyshawn Shushu, Xander Zayas say, hey, I want to be the main event. Can you put me on the main event? Oh, what? You think we're what? You think we're Showtime or something? You think this is Jake Paul? You know what I'm saying? Everybody you talk to, if you want to kind of try to compare what Jake Paul is doing to boxing, they always going to tell you one thing. Those guys had money, they got money, and they had a following before they came over to boxing. They will always tell you that shit. They had money before they came over here. They had money. They had millions of freaking people following them before they came over here. They're big. They got the money to do it. They have sponsorships. This is why I look at some of the damn shit on YouTube, and these cats really don't know. They really don't know a shit like this going on, but yet they're getting on here refusing to talk to people again that they never met in life. They're going absolutely insane with anxiety and getting mad and angry over real boxing shit when you have situations like this. You have situations like this that continue to fulminate. People have entry points to boxing, and shit like this takes damn center stage when they are attached to a premier network where we are up here yelling, kicking, and screaming, man, just because we can't get Crawford Spence, who pretty much PBC is attached to this same network, Showtime. So where is it going bad? Where does the drop off happen? You know what I'm saying? Where do the lines get severed to help this for a fight of this magnitude against two legitimate boxers on the pound for pound list? How can Jake Paul and Anderson Silva do these type of numbers and get the fight made, right? But yet, Showtime, it's almost like it's a whole different group of people. Oh man, that was the A. That was the A group over there fucking with Jake Paul and them. But Terrence Crawford and freaking Errol Spence about pretty much the F group. There's levels in this Showtime shit. That's the F group. They're messing with the A group because of money and everything. They got money behind them and all that. They're able to put on that paper. But check this out, people. In boxing, they wouldn't even entertain a fight card like that. They would say no money. Look, we're not even getting to the fight card of Bud and Spence. They can't even get past the damn negotiation process. We're doing live streams talking about what they was talking about in the negotiations that never even materialized into something conducive. But you have Jake Paul and Anderson Silva that has the fight made. They got paid, and off they go. And this is a Showtime pay-per-view, y'all. Somebody explain that shit to me. Somebody explain that shit to me, because I am eager for knowledge, man. Mitch, don't fight it. Jake Paul and Silva isn't boxing. That was casual shit. People are going to say it's casual. And, you know, I'll say if he can get his fan base over there, what hardcore boxing fans? Just think about it. Anyone in the chat, just think about this shit. On the YTC, you always hear people say, man, fuck that, man. I ain't watching that shit. And they consider themselves pretty much hardcore fanatics because they feel that Jake Paul isn't a real boxer, which he is. He's a real boxer. He has his license just like the other boxers who come off the couch that's coming up in the ranks. He has his damn license, people. Anderson Silva, real boxer. He has previous boxing match, MMA legend. He's a real boxer. It's just the way we perceive them to be as far as how they went about their professional career in the sport of boxing, their quality of opposition. The quality of opposition for Jake Paul is not respected, but it's accepted. You know why it's accepted? Because he has money behind him. He has people. He's on stage. His brother Logan, check this out. His brother Logan is over there in the WWE. These guys are making money behind the scenes. They're getting sponsorships. And me, I'm looking at it like, how can we get a piece of the pie over here in boxing for that shit? Now, granted, we had Snoop, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather. You had plenty of boxers that go over to the WWE. But what I'm trying to say is, it's not a regular occurrence. Like the shit with Floyd Mayweather was hilarious, man. It was hilarious, man. Him knocking out that 400-pound dude with brass knuckles was hilarious. Snoop Dogg coming down there, goddamn Tyson. Man, that shit was hilarious. But we don't have boxers getting that type of exposure a lot of the times. We definitely don't have boxers with the amount of experience that Jake Paul has to be able to get a main event call on pay-per-view. People would laugh. People would laugh, dog. They would motherfucking laugh. PBC would laugh, but yet they was the same ones up here. Come on. Yeah, man, I went to that Jake Paul fight. Man, it was packed up in there. There was a lot of people, this, that, and the other. But when it come to the real boxing, no, man, we could never make that fight. But Showtime just did it. I don't give a fuck what Showtime would do. I'm telling you, we can't make that shit over here. But they had boxing license. Didn't you hear me? I don't give a fuck about none of that. I don't give a fuck about none of that. But they have license. It's boxing. No, it ain't boxing. I'm gonna tell you, they got money behind them. They had money before they came in the game. And since they got money, they willing to make more money. People willing to put money behind them. That's how the shit work. These boxers ain't got no money. So they coming up the hard way. That's the conversation they're gonna have. Not everybody getting paid like that. They got sponsors that's behind them that the real boxers don't have, bro. That's pretty much facts. They have people behind them that certain boxers with that experience won't get until they earn a championship or two, and they put some more damn numbers to their resume. Mitch says 200K to 300K were not casual boxing fans. It definitely wasn't hardcore boxing fans. It was a mixture of Jake Paul's following and leftovers from Silva's UFC fans. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that, Mitch. MMA fans are not like that. MMA fans are not just gullible like that. Like MMA fans, one thing about them, they're dedicated to mixed martial arts. They still have somewhat like a barstool following. Like real talk. These are people who get together on a regular basis and go to the same bar. They're that loyal. Like MMA fans rock out with MMA. They're much different than boxing. I'm telling you, bro. These are people who would get up and it's like 7 or 8 of them. They go to the same bar, watch damn sports and shit, drink, get together, talk, and all that. And they stick strictly to mixed martial arts. I'm not saying that's across the board. Of course, you got some people that watch mixed martial arts and watch boxing. But as a consensus, when we talk about high numbers, hell no. MMA ain't doing that shit. Just cause Anderson Silva over there, please. He's over the hill. 47 years old. They're not gonna say, hey man, Anderson fighting that guy Jake Paul. They already know the outcome. They say, okay, man, yeah, we know what this is gonna be. He gonna get a check. We just trying to find out how the results are gonna happen. That's all. What is the ending? Come on, man. We don't know the difference between MC Hammer and Wu-Tang. One was casuals and the other was real shit. Can't touch this. Can't touch this. It's just false to label Jake Paul fans as casual boxing fans. Not the same. They're fans of him, not boxing. I don't know. Now you get into semantics. Now you get into, deep layers which require people to be on site and to really get some interviews and talk to those people, random people, and ask them about why they're here. What brought you to this fight? Why are you here watching this fight? Or have you been watching boxing before this? No, I was just a fan of his when he was on YouTube. I came up with him and his brother. I followed them. Okay, cool. And what about you? Did you follow boxing before this? Yeah, I dibble and dabble in the sport of boxing. You know what I'm saying? Kind of, I casually watch boxing, casually watch MMA. You know what I'm saying? So I said, okay, we got a mixture of two. I came in. You feel me? Like, we got to be there on site, bro. That Money and Record MC Hammer sold was real as fuck. MC also wasn't suck out there. And now Mitch is absolutely right about that, Chaos. That money was real. MC Hammer, there's a lot of niggas out here, to include some people in this chat, wanted to be MC Hammer with the goddamn parachute pants on. And Mitch might still have a pair of them motherfuckers. Might be wearing them right now. A lot of you niggas had the parachute pants walking around the mall and shit, dog. With some Reeboks on and shit. Man, y'all know y'all had MC Hammer, yeah. Too legit to quit. Too legit to quit. Hey, too legit. Too legit. Key Mitch Hammer was mainstream. Yeah, I don't consider Jake Paul to be mainstream based off his boxing ethics, if he has any. I just think he's I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit of both, man. He has built the foundation in a whole nother genre, and he's able to cross over with the money behind him. I think it's more so the money, if anything. If you put him on the same playing field as some of these fighters, he won't be on no pay-per-view. If he didn't have that money behind him and his brother and his parents, hell no. His parents are well connected too, bro. This is what you call entitlement at its best. But the fucked up part about it is that they're able to be entitled in a real environment. This is real. Showtime is motherfucking real. And they're able to have this shit play out in front of real fans, man. Damn. Butterbean was a casual giant. Damn, dog. We about to the wolves about to come out. The wild dogs about to go hunt. You know what I'm saying? Shit. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that for a little bit, man. Because it was very important. I thought it was productive information to try to figure out the divide. How do we figure out what the divide is? You know, hardcore fans, casual fans, who is putting and injecting their interest into 200, 300K for Jake Paul, Anderson Silva? And why, if there is a freaking what's I'm trying to say? If it is some type of medication, I don't know. I mean, where do we put our fingertip and saying that's what it is right there in this case? Because really, I'm talking about this because of what's been going on so much in the last several months, and it's dealing with Showtime, the same network that's attached to PBC, and they can't get shit done with two black fighters. But yet they're over here putting on a pay-per-view just last week with a card that don't even come close, just based off the main event alone. If it was Spence Crawford, nobody on that come close to this shit. And then on top of that, another crazy part about the hocus pocus in this shit, when they want you to come out there and dance and shit, as long as they damn pulling the strings, they're trying to say Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia are bigger than Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence. Let that sit with you this entire evening. They're trying to say Ryan Garcia, who haven't won shit except the goddamn interim title. They're trying to say that Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia is bigger than Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. It's no way in hell. It's no way in boxing hell that I see where they coming from. It's no way. It's no way, man. It's no way. Because we're talking about the matrimony. The boxing matrimony. When it comes to what we want to see in a matchup, that's it. Crawford Spence, we want to see the matrimony. Not too many people trying to see the matrimony with Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia like that. It's became extremely weird as of late when you look back on how Ryan Garcia just totally ducked a lot of fighters at one time, and then he came back in desperation, supporting Rolly Romero, and then goddamn wanting to call out Tank. He became like a stalker. He was up there damn near about to cry because he pulled up in the club and thought he was going, "Hey man, how you doing?" And Tank was on that Be More time. He said, "Nigga, you got me fucked up. You gonna talk that shit about me online and all that, and you think you gonna come up to me and think I'm a fake dude? No, I'm real, dog. I'm real. I'm that dude. You know I got a court case coming up, nigga. You're not about to come up here and give me no hug and do shit. So dog, you trying to say we don't have no respect between? It ain't none, man. None. Now, of course, it might be different after the fight, after he knocked Ryan Garcia out. But I'm just saying, they saying that Garcia Davis is a bigger fight than damn Bud and Spence. It's credible. Credible. It's the casual fat combat. They right, Scotty. Tank versus Garcia is bigger. How, man? You want to talk about the Mexican fan base again? What numbers have Ryan Garcia did? He just came off from fighting who? Javier Fortuna. What fan base he fucking got? Oh, yeah, let's go. IG. He has what? He's bringing the 8-point plus bots that's over there. I don't know if it's at 9 million yet. But he's bringing that fan base over to the boxing ring. No, those cannot all be accounted for, bro. What has Ryan Garcia did besides make flash videos and you know, speed drills and shit, and then come in to fight and fight and throw combinations with his chin, you know, on the end of a string. It's spring season with a kite. You know, he's doing a lot of crazy shit he shouldn't be doing in his experience. But they saying this fight is bigger than Arrow and Bud. Performance-wise, I don't see it. Just because they think Gervonta Davis is going to knock his ass out, okay, I can see it. Real talk, I can see if they think Ryan's going to get knocked the fuck out. I can see them from taking Gervonta Davis being a pay-per-view star. If you want to ask me, take away Crawford, take away Ryan Garcia. If you ask me who I wanted to see fight first, Spence or Tank, it's always going to be Tank. Always. It's going to be Tank. If I had to decide between the two, Tank or Errol Spence, it will always be Tank. Hands down. Because he's much more, you know, climactic as a fighter. He has the equalizer with power in his hands. Of course. But, man, appreciate y'all for pulling up, man. I got to get up out of here. Go take care of some stuff. But the ones who pulled up, as always, to the WCS Boulevard, appreciate you. One love. It's, you know, it was 20 people watching, and then it's only 12 likes, man. You got to get the likes up for the 200 to 300K, man. You got to get the likes up, man. What do y'all got going on? You know what I'm saying? You got to get the likes up, bro. How is that possible? But anyway, man, y'all hold it down, and we should do this again. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. I'm out.